Good to see you.
Yeah.
All right, are you ready for a good discussion? Let me see. We've been told that time is money since Ben Franklin. What if that metaphor is the root of the problem? What happens when we stop treating time as a currency?
Or as a different kind of currency. I reflect on that a lot, that growing up you hear that so much, and in most of our careers in our generation, the contribution we make is very proportionate as sort of increments of time that are rewarded with money. And that's actually similar whether you have a high-flying senior job or a technician that sort of gets out on a job and needs to fix something. It is the call-out charge and the time. And even if you work in a factory, the hours that you put in, and people have to have several jobs to make the proportion of what they get for their time work. And that's also where a lot of inequity comes from, that the time is rewarded unevenly, which then also means some people have a different possibility and so on. But if you take it theoretically, and we say there was a basic income, which has been discussed since a few decades. Now it's becoming more realistic with AI, at least for some of us. And you start to kind of think about like, okay, how would I want my life to be if I actually crack this revenue that just comes in? I have an AI that's doing all the work for me, the revenue comes in. What would I want to do with my time? It's a very privileged piece of thinking, but I think what happens if you look at time from that point of view, it is more the contribution you make, the quality of relationships you foster. You start to look at it differently. So as a zero-based redesign exercise, super interesting. And I saw some research. There are two professors in Stanford that have done a course that was called Life Design. They have one thought experiment is if you are in an accelerator and time moves at the speed of light, you could have as many lives as you want. Mm-hmm. They ask people, and it goes from 2 to infinity, but the average is 7. So I think as a different perspective into that question, if you had 7 lives that are sort of different versions of you, you have them basically in you. And if you go to brain science, we know that we don't actually exist, we become constantly. Our brain is constantly sort of running a simulation that is a few ticks behind us. So I think it's a meaningful exercise to question that, and the hope that I have for our institute that we can invite people into this dialogue and open that question up, because I don't think there's a right answer, but I would love for people to have the possibility to reflect on it and not just default into the standard version.
A little bit like unconstraining your life, right? When you think it's limited, like you see a countdown like on 10 seconds and you think about, okay, what can I do in the 10 seconds? But if you didn't have the time, you might actually be faster. But to the question like time is money, I think it's at least, if not, at least it's incomplete, right? That thinking around time is money, because time is also, the loves that you have, the moments that you spend with people, and then just looking at it from an organizational point of view doesn't help solving the entire issue. So having a little bit like Christensen talked about, how you measure your life, right? It's more than measuring just the money that you made, because when you die, nobody's going to remember how much money you leave for your family. It's the moments that you spend. And the same in an organization. Nobody's going to remember, that person always worked long hours, right? They're going to remember the minute at the coffee table that you spent, the extra hour to mentor. These are the moments that matter, and I think in that sense, time is money is at least incomplete.
We should measure the moments that matter somehow. And I reflected often when my grandmother passed away, and we had these sort of last conversations. She also didn't remember so much what happened recently, but it sort of dawned on me what you actually sort of have. What you accumulate is moments. It's the sort of the treasure of memories, and of course making those, depending on where you are, has different circumstances. But I think it's good to be aware of that.